Welcome to Advanced Insights, where we provide just what the show name suggests, advanced insights in some of the most exciting trends and topics in technology. On this episode, I am joined by Leanne Russell, Head of Technology at BNY. She serves a dual role as CIO and Global Head of Engineering. Leanne oversees a high-performing global team of technologists. They drive the development of cutting-edge digital solutions that enhance the client experience, ensure security and resilience, and drive the bank's platforms forward with innovative software, infrastructure, and technologies. BNY is the world's largest custodian bank, safeguarding more than $56 trillion and serving 95% of the top 100 banks, as well as 92% of Fortune 100 companies. We discuss how she and her team are using AI, not just to drive efficiency, but to reimagine the future of banking. Leanne, so thrilled to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Leanne, before we jump into all about financial services industry, I would love to hear your perspective of what brought you into technology. What's your interest? I mean, you have such a broad responsibility at Bank of New York and such a rich history of technology application prior.
Well, I'd love to say that I had a preordained path to come into technology, but it isn't actually true. I was one of the first people in my family, along with my sister, to go to university. And what I loved about engineering was it didn't feel like I was stuck in one path. It was kind of a little bit of everything. And that really was what took me into studying engineering, this idea of diversity, business, commercial, tech. And that's how I got into studying engineering. And I think, honestly, I'm a bit of a infrastructure builder at heart. If you look at the industries that I've worked in, energy, financial services, I was also on the board of an infrastructure company. I'm an infrastructure builder in so many ways, and that's probably why I love the whole tech space.
Oh, that's fantastic. What do you find most rewarding? I mean, every day you wake up, I'm sure there's a myriad of problems that you come in and they need to be solved. What's the most fun?
I've shared a number of times that I have this mission in life. I was asked to build a mission, and I was a bit eye roll about that because building a mission isn't really things that engineers do. And I came up with this mission that my purpose in life was to create an amazing life for my family, incredible careers for my team, and outstanding results for my company. And when I went through the process of creating that mission, I really felt that. So family first and foremost, everything I do is about giving them a great experience in life. But I just love building, as I said. So building new technologies, being a bit of a dreamer about like what the art of the possible could be, and then just finding amazing people to come on that journey, helping them exceed their dreams as part of their own building tech journeys. That's what I absolutely love about what we do.
That's fantastic. I mean, to me, that's what makes it all worth it. When you have a vision, you have a mission that you're on. But I have to ask you, you think about society right now and AI, pervading almost every facet. Isn't it an incredibly exciting time? And how does that change your view of the mission? Does that help? Is it a challenge? How do you think about AI writ large?
Well, I'm sure like you, in my near 30-year career, I just don't think there's ever been a time like there is now. I probably haven't slept in a year. Part of that is changing sector. Part of that is learning the whole financial services ecosystem. But part of that is just things are moving so fast. And I just think it's just hugely energizing because I used to think I was a bit superhuman being an engineer anyway because of the things that we can do because of our backgrounds. But now with AI, the WIT gives us a whole new wind at our sails for what we're able to do on any given day. Having that knowledge at your fingertips, supercharging our human potential. It's just the most exciting time of my entire career.
Oh, that is great.
Do you think the same?
I absolutely think the same way. Actually, I feel incredibly fortunate that we are in the middle of technology in this time. I think it gives us the opportunity to magnify the impact that we can all have.
It's a real privilege. I think that's a really good word for it.
So banking and financial services, incredibly data intensive. It seems to me probably one of the most ripe areas where AI could really have an outsized impact. How do you think about it? Is it something that's been an uphill battle to get plans and to get adoption? I would love to hear your story.
So BNY, originally the Bank of New York, is a very special company. We are 241 years old, almost as old as America itself. First stock listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So just an incredible history. Right outside my office, I think you've seen it, sits the original ledgers for the bank with names like Alexander Hamilton and George Washington. It's just a really, really unique place. And we are what would mostly be known as an infrastructure bank, back to that how much I love building infrastructure. So we don't have branches, you won't see BNY on the high street, and we don't have an investment bank as such. But we do a number of things. We manage money, we move money, and we keep money safe. So in terms of managing money, we're one of the world's biggest asset managers. We have several trillion under management. In terms of moving money, we're very strong in the payments business. We provide the rails that move trillions of dollars every day. And then mostly we're a custody bank. The way I would explain a custody bank is if I was going to buy $100 of AMD stock, you would go online, you would go to your broker, you'd buy that stock, and then you forget about it. And then you just trust that someone has that money, it stores that money for you, get paid your dividends on time. So we are the world's largest number one custodian. We have $56 trillion of assets in custody. So that's our three biggest businesses. And as you can see, an immense amount of data. So really, we're a technology company as much as we're a financial systems company when you're the custodian of that much data points. So tech is at the heart of everything that we do at the bank. We have active data centers. We have real-time threat intelligence because we're keeping that money safe on behalf of most of the financial services, but also corporate companies in the world. So it's not an uphill battle. Everyone at BNY knows that technology is the lifeblood of what we do. And so there's a huge demand and a very much embracing technology and of course AI to make sure that what we do is safe, is resilient, and is ruthlessly efficient on behalf of our clients.
You mentioned the word resilience. Everybody wants their processes to be resilient, but I can't even imagine the pressure you and your teams are under, given exactly as you said, you're safeguarding, the very financial investments that all of your customers have worked so hard to develop. How do you deal with that pressure? I mean, is it equal priority with every technical objective that you set out for the processes?
It's absolutely not equal. Our cyber and resiliency agenda is at the heart of everything that we do at BNY. Actually, our CEO, Robin Vince, uses the phrase resiliency is commercial, which actually just goes to show how important it is, not just as a tech objective, but as a business objective for the bank. And I actually really, really believe that if you want to partner with someone to keep your money safe, either moving it, managing it, or custodian for it, then you want to partner with someone who's going to really, really put resiliency at the heart of everything that you do. So back to our active data centers or like real-time failover, everything that we do, we exercise that, we invest in that, we hire the great teams to manage our data center resiliency or cyber resiliency. And I would say as CTO of the bank, that really is job one. And everything that I say, every time I meet our clients, every time I meet our teams, I remind us all that that is our job one for the bank.
I imagine it's basically almost a zero downtime type of bar that you set.
Well, certainly that is our goal, and we have spent a huge amount of investment to get to what I would call regulatory grade resilience, that we meet the need of our regulators, that we meet the need of our clients. And then there's lots more that we can do, especially in an AI first world, looking at more automation, looking at self-healing in our data centers. There's tremendous opportunities ahead of us to even more increase our resiliency that we have.
So that's one huge challenge that others may not have the same bar you have. Most don't have the same bar that you have. but you also have regulatory. And so I think it's probably financial and medical industries probably have the most daunting requirements of regulatory. And now you're bringing AI to bear. Does AI, run head to head with staying within the confines of regulatory? Or I doubt our listeners. I certainly don't have any idea how that plays.
Well, I came from the energy sector, which was also highly regulated. So I'm very, very used to working in a highly regulated environment. And I really embrace our regulators because I think the job of regulators is to help keep the ecosystem safe.
Yes.
And so I really welcome the feedback and the guardrails and the dialogue that we have with our regulators because that's really important. As you know, AI is not without risk.
Yes.
And so we have to be really thoughtful about the application of AI and make sure that we do that in a safe, ethical and transparent manner. So I think the partnership with the regulators becomes really important there. So we engage very heavily with our regulators. We bring them along the journey with us because at this point in time, none of us are experts in this. And so I think that's a very important dialogue to have in the financial services sector to make sure that they understand that what we're doing, we understand their point of view so that we can really work together and adopt AI in a very thoughtful way.
I think it's such a challenge for all of us. I had the opportunity this weekend to talk to a number of professionals in the medical industry, and they're technologists, so they're all applying AI. This was the number one theme. They're actually tremendous research that they have going of how to apply AI, but have the checks and balances. How do you, and if you do that, you can really progress productivity like other industries are leveraging AI. Here's a topic I've been waiting to explore with you. When I first met you, you described to me how at BNY you were applying agentic AI. And this was some months ago. And I know, at AMD we now have agentic AI everywhere and we're getting great results. But when I talked to you, you already had an extensive, like almost everywhere deployment. If you could just share with our listeners, how did you embrace so quickly agentic AI and just a little bit about how you're deploying it and the kind of impact that it's having?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first of all, I would like to give credit to our CEO, Robin, who is incredibly tech savvy and really has led the charge at the bank for this, and our incredible AI hub who have built all of this infrastructure for us. So our AI platform is called Eliza. Eliza is the wife of Alexander Hamilton, who founded the bank 241 years ago. And we built our own agentic platform. So Eliza is a platform which is multi-agentic, model agnostic. We use most of the large language models available to us through Eliza. And that was really how we started with the AI Hub 2023. Now, of course, we use machine learning and more traditional forms of AI before that, but our real agentic journey started then. And what we've done, which I think has really, really helped us be successful, is lead first with education. So we went out and decided to make all of our workforce AI literate. So 98% of the bank are now fully trained on Gen AI, and we are now have done that broad training, and now we're going really deep. So we're doing multi-week boot camps for our operations specialists. We are doing 10-hour training for every single one of our employees, gamifying our training, because we really had this vision that if you could create an AI literate workforce, and we use the phrase AI for everyone, for everything, everywhere, then that would create this tidal wave of adoption of AI at the bank. And so when only 5% of companies, as MIT have shared recently, are really seeing the benefits of AI, we really believe that we're in that 5%. And it started for us with this vision of mass adoption from everyone. So when you turn that into results for the bank, and by the way, the next stage that we went to was having our employees build their own agents. 20,000 agent builders out of 50,000 employees, most of whom are not from engineering. We even did a live demo on how to build an agent at an all-hands town hall for the whole company that Rob and I and our head of strategy for AI Hub did. And so this is now AI. This is how AI is in the hands of everyone. So then we then get the outcomes from that. So we have more than 100 solutions at the bank with agentic solutions. It touches almost everything that we do. So one of our biggest businesses, asset servicing, we have agentic AI that looks at the very complex calculations that happen in that business every day, called NAV calculations. We have an agentic solution that sits on top of those calculations, and we're seeing 40% reduction in false positive detection. If you're in our legal team, you have a version of Eliza who's looking at contract renewals and reviews, and we've reduced that process by 25%. And so every single part of the bank has started to see AI infused in everything. So we're no longer talking use cases, we are talking solutions in production, touching everything that we do, and we still think that we're only just getting started.
But Leanne, you said that Robin was on the panel with you as you were talking to the whole company. So that means that your CEO is practicing agentic AI. Is that what I inferred?
Everyone at the bank is practicing agentic AI. So he's even vibe coded. And so I myself, with my leadership team, when the vibe coding tools came out earlier this year, we did a hackathon. We want everyone who's in the engineering organization to be able to code. My last time coding was Fortran, which kind of dates me a little bit. But with the advent of tools like Devin and Windsurf and Cursor and so many of these amazing technologies, we have to have everyone in the bank have this type of technologies at their fingertips. Otherwise, how do you help the new analysts who come in, who are conversant in using agentic assisted coding? Like, if we can't use it as the leaders of a technology function, then I don't think we can lead the revolution that's coming in this space. So Robin is very hands-on. All of our executive team, I would credit, are using Eliza on a very, very regular basis, and that's really important because we're leading from a point of doing, not from a point of just talking about AI.
Well, my next question is, I really pose it based on some of our internal AI deployments in the chip design business we do at AMD. We found points of processes that we can truly be digital agentic process standalone, but others that need the human in the loop. So a much more complex process, and we've inserted a human in the loop to really, frankly, more quickly to guide to the right solution, taking advantage of AI for productivity gain, but leveraging expertise. Do you have a mix of applications like that, or is it mostly standalone digital first agents?
So we have human in the loop for most things still, and that's back to being a regulated environment, because we are not quite ready to unleash agentic, fully automated at scale, because we still have to work through the checks and balances of everything. But what I will share with you is this concept of a digital employee. So we've gone one step further than agentic, and I think of our agentic systems as being a bit like a freelance worker. So our agents have a defined scope of work, they come in, they execute that scope of work, and then you typically have a human who can check it. Earlier this year, we moved one step further to having what we would call digital employees at the bank. So we now have more than 100 employees at the bank who have their own login, who have a human manager, and who are working in our ecosystem. And we have a number of personas, but I'll just touch on two of them. And
wait, these employees are digital personas?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's very cool, and this really will help explain how we interact between the digital and human employees. So two personas, one in our payment space does digital repairs. For payments, they're doing around 2,000 repairs a week, which is a very, very decent amount, and we're seeing very high accuracy rates in the payment repairs that they do. This is back to our payments business, which processes trillions of dollars of payments. So you can see how having an AI augmented process becomes really, really helpful. But they have a human manager. So our our digital employees can communicate via Teams or email. They have their own login, as I said, and the human managers can really, really have a good look at what the payment repairs are like. But our biggest persona right now is in my area as digital engineers. So our digital engineers are doing vulnerability management, so scanning our code base, finding vulnerabilities in our code base, and they do one of two things. They will remediate themselves very low complex issues. If they find a really high complex vulnerability, then they will communicate directly with the manager and say, I found this vulnerability, this is beyond my scope. So it is human in the loop, but it is definitely freeing up our engineers to not do this work, because of course our engineers love working on new feature releases, new developments for our clients. Having these digital engineers, and we have 90 of them now, sitting in the ecosystem, doing this remediation on our vulnerabilities really is making a huge difference. And they have autonomously written tens of thousands of lines of code now, which again shows the amount of freeing up of our engineers' time this is enabling. But still having that human in the loop. In every one of the cases right now, the digital employee has a human manager and communicates that work to a human manager.
Well, I think you're going to have unique insights on agentic AI deployments because you've been so aggressive, as you just shared with us, in rolling it out. I think a lot of listeners would wonder, how are you handling that across the workforce? You mentioned that it's freeing up your talent to be more productive, to do more things. But I know everyone's dealing with this, is actually getting employees to rethink their career paths now that you have a digital assistant that can make you significantly more productive.
And I honestly think that's been our special sauce, was really to go out first and be in this training. So we didn't start with gatekeeping AI in the engineering function. We don't see AI as being an engineering problem to solve like some other companies have done. That's back to having AI in the hands of everyone, because the best ideas come from the people doing the business, not from engineers. One of my great friends said, who's a CTO in a tech company, says, we're not the department of recommendations and suggestions, we're the builders. And I kind of love that, and I kind of think that analogy is really fun. So we do build all the enterprise grade AI for the company. So we don't do individual agent building. So people can build their own agents in their own data sets, in their own environments. But if you want enterprise grade AI, we build it for them. But making sure that really every employee having access to the tools. So everyone had ELIZA, but we've now upgraded ELIZA to ELIZA 2.0, which is based on GPT-5. So every single person in the company has access to that grade of AI, has access to hundreds of hours of training in the ecosystem, can build their own agents. That's really, for us, how work gets advanced, because I can't tell someone in fund accounting how to agentify their processes. It needs to be a fund accounting expert driven. And I really think that was how we've managed to get these use cases. The digital employee, the first digital employee, as I said, was a payments repair employee. That came from the operations and business teams in payments. They saw the technology, they were using the technology, and they had this amazing idea about how they could agentify that process.
It's I love how you went about it. I honestly believe that the aspects of how you take an employee force with you is equally important with the AI and agentic processes that you're deploying. You can't have one without the other.
I agree, but of course the elephant in the room is people worried about their jobs. And one of the stats that I use with the team, and have been saying actually since the beginning of GPT in 22, in the arc of every technology revolution, there's only been more job creation. So there was a great study done by Otter from MIT in 2018 that showed that 65% of the jobs today didn't exist in 1940. Think about software engineers. We didn't have software engineers in 1940, and now we have tens of hundreds of, if not more, thousands of software engineers. So the question becomes not what jobs are going to disappear and there not be jobs available, but like, what will the jobs look like? And the best way that you can future-proof your company and yourselves is to be very much embracing the technology. And that's why we're really going hard on investing in our AI education for every single one of our employees, so they can learn the skills that will help them to adapt to the jobs of the future.
Yes, it's embrace the technology and learn it, but it's equally embrace change.
Embrace change. And change is hard for people. I mean, as engineers, sometimes it's one of the things that I failed at as a leader, is to really appreciate how impactful change can be, because I'm one of those people who operate at the top of the change curve. You know, you show me the path and I'm off to the races. I actually love change. Change is a constant for us as technologists. Yep. And I've really had to learn as a leader that that isn't the case for everyone. And so really helping everyone at BNY understand why AI is important, why being part of their own learning journey is really important, is something that in partnership with our HR team at BNY, we've really made sure that everyone understands the importance of that, because change isn't easy for everyone, yes. Especially when change is a constant in our lives outside work, as well as, of course, the technical revolution.
Yeah, and you've gone beyond what most people do in embracing change. When I think about your story, you've been involved in so many aspects of technology, but that had to have been significant change coming out of the oil industry and running technology for British Petroleum, and then moving right into financial services. Is there overlap? There had to be. I mean, there's technological problems on both sides, but the applications are very different. Tell us a little bit about embracing change from your own career path.
Well, I think it starts with purpose, and you and I have talked about this before, about being very purpose driven, and that's always been very important to me. So I grew up in Scotland, and there weren't many industries. There was fishing, and there was the energy sector, and the energy sector seemed really purposeful for me, because the energy sector was about providing heat, light, and mobility for the world. And that was a time when everyone thought the world was running out of oil, and that's what people cared about. Then over time, the narrative really changed, and it became about climate change. And so I was very fortunate, particularly at the latter stage of my career with BP, to lead the teams who were really doing incredible things in technologies like wind, solar, biofuels, even data cooling fluid for data centers, reimagining our Castrol business into cooling fluids. Now, there's so much commonality with financial services, very complex industries, very data intense, very regulatory driven. So lots and lots of commonalities there. Lots of great uses for AI. In energy sector, it's around imaging of rock to find hydrocarbons, or predictive maintenance on big, massive areas of plant, or algorithmic trading on commodities trading desks. And of course, then we've talked about in the financial services sector, there's lots of anomaly detection, process automation. So there's a lot of commonalities there. And then I think it becomes really fascinating, because the whole thing becomes full cycle, right? So you have the energy sector who is powering AI. Yes. And so I think I saw recently McKinsey said the amount of power for data centers triples from now to the end of the decade. So there's an energy component to that. There's, of course, what you do at AMD, which is looking at how do we make compute more efficient, more powerful, more like ESG related, and because you're using less material to generate more compute capacity. And then you have the financial services sector, who are huge consumers of this technology, but then also finance the whole energy sector. And, you know, there's a really virtuous cycle here that I think just the thread of data, the thread of application of technology, the thread of operational excellence. Yes. Like touches everything that those sectors do. So I found there's some great new things to learn. I love learning. It's one of my lifeblood of my career, is to learn new things. And I've certainly had an amazing time in the last year learning how financial systems work. But there's a very big commonality and threads around how we use data and technology to be operationally excellent.
Well, your description of that circle of confluence resonates completely with us at AMD, because you think about it, we're creating the engines of AI, and we have to drive them to be more energy efficient. We are energy gated, and the ability to supply the amount of computing that's needed with the advent of AI, and it's just continuing on a torrid double exponential pace. But it does tie in directly into financing and creative techniques. So you can look at a recent announcement of AMD and OpenAI, and it was a very creative financial arrangement to help fund these massive data centers of the future.
It's just partnership though, and I think that's the bit that where the confluence becomes really important. There's like a partnership in energy, there's a partnership in finance, there's a partnership in tech, and if we are really going to advance this in the way that we absolutely need to make the world a different place, then those partnerships become really, really important.
Leanne, it's been a fascinating conversation, and I like to end these discussions with a look forward. Tell us about your view. When you look, at all of the kind of applications you've been applying, do you see a slowdown? Do you see acceleration? What's ahead of us here in the industry? What has you excited looking forward?
So I think experts are terrible at predictions. So I try not to make any predictions. And I think, when I look at this year, I had a goal to get 65% of the bank trained on Gen AI. We made 97% in July. We hadn't even thought about digital employees at the beginning of the year. And now we have 100 of them working at the bank. So I really try not to think about the prediction. I think it's for us about how do we build as quickly as possible?
Yes.
How do we dream the biggest dreams that we can possibly dream for our enterprises and our sectors and match those dreams with the build out? And I just think the future of bringing in humans and technology together in this agentic world is really, really going to make each and every one of us superhuman in some way. And I'm just tremendously excited about it.
That is an incredibly inspiring perspective. Thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I truly enjoyed chatting with Leanne. The main takeaways from our discussion are the importance of embracing new technology and embracing change itself. I was so impressed at how forward-thinking BNY has been at applying AI, including training around 98% of its employees on generative AI and creating digital employees. Thank you for joining us today on Advanced Insights. This is a wrap on Season 2, and we'll be back next year. I look forward to bringing you more in-depth conversations on cutting-edge technology, industry insights, and visionary perspectives from some of the brightest minds in the field. You can watch the video show on AMD's YouTube channel, or you can listen in audio-only platforms including Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music. Technology is always advancing, and I can't wait to share more insights with you next time.